April 25th, 2022. You're listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. I'm Kevin.
And that makes me Don.
We are back again, doing the show again.
Uh-huh. We don't go away.
We're not even going to talk about, I don't think we're going to talk about Moon Knight this week. I don't think we need to talk about it at all. It ended with a hippopotamus. I think everybody knows at this point our feelings on that show, right?
Although, you know what, I can tell you.
Okay.
I talked to Clint.
Oh, Jesus.
Because he didn't see any of it, right?
Oh, okay.
And so he finally watched them.
Oh, all right.
And he saw the fourth episode before I did. And he goes, hey, man, I was watching Moon Knight. And I go, I haven't seen the fourth episode yet. And he goes, oh, okay, well, if you can explain to me the last 6 minutes of the fourth episode, that'd be great. And I was like, okay. And I didn't know. I was just like, oh, okay. I guess I have to watch it now. And I'll tell you what, I have no idea. No idea. And then he's kind of the same. He's like, I don't understand what's going on here. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's not just you and me.
Yeah.
It's also Holiday. Uh-oh.
All right. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Hi, everybody. We have some technical difficulties.
Okay. Sorry. You can hear me?
That's all right. Yeah.
I was getting some feedback from you, a little bit of buzz, and so I had to mess with the audio. Sorry, everybody.
Gotcha.
No, listen, he died. He died.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing.
But it's some sort of
the water.
Egyptian. I've seen this this hippopotamus character in Egyptian something before, and it's going to be some kind of a god. Because it's, Egypt's on the River Nile. Hippopotamuses, I think, are somewhere on the River Nile, or at least were. And so, Egyptians probably saw them and whatever, made, because they got, Anubis is like the dog-faced god. There's probably a hippopotamus. I mean, I could look this stuff up, folks. I'm not Googling it. Those out there that already know all the answers, great. I'm just saying, I don't know. I'm not that interested. But what I am going to say is just that, he's going to get resurrected or something. But
obviously, you don't kill the main character in the fourth episode.
Right. But, it comes back down, though, to the question that, I was leading with last time we talked, was the fact that, like, maybe, what is his name? What is the moon guy's name?
Oh,
Khonshu. Khonshu. Maybe Khonshu isn't a good guy, and maybe he's going to get resurrected and be under, this hippopotamus or something. I think Khonshu probably is some sort of a good guy, but I feel like he's playing games here, Anyway, who knows? I guess we'll find out. There's not that many episodes left, so we'll figure it out.
There's only 2. I just wanted to let you know that Clint agrees.
Oh, well, that's awesome. Good Clint.
Yeah.
It's good.
Oh, you mean the guy who makes up stories and tells lies? Yeah. Oh, great. He agrees with me? Sweet.
That's awesome. It's good stuff.
But anyways, we're not going to talk about that, folks.
No. Anyway, this week we're going to talk about a different topic because we've been kind of harping on the TV show stuff a lot lately, and I kind of wanted to do something a little different, although we do talk about politics and things occasionally. And I wanted to talk about drugs today, a little bit about drugs. And the reason why is I had... I've talked about this before. Like, I have some panic disorder that kind of comes and goes. I haven't had it quite a long time, but I still see a psychiatrist about once every 3 to 6 months just to check in, essentially. A psychiatrist, in case people don't know, unless you're rich, I guess, maybe, or something, a psychiatrist doesn't usually talk to you like they do on TV shows. Like, the guy lays on the couch and the person's talking and the psychiatrist is writing stuff down. That's what the psychologist does, right? The psychologist is really the guy that's going through the whole method of, working you through your issues and that kind of thing. A psychiatrist is a medical doctor. So a psychiatrist is the one that actually prescribes the medications they might ask you some questions about your condition, right? And they may recommend that you see a psychologist if that they think that's going to work for you. But in general, when I go see a psychiatrist, we're not talking about my childhood and shit like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, my daddy spanked me or something. Like, I don't know. But it's mostly just like any other doctor visit. You know, you talk about the medicines and the physical symptoms and things like that. And I don't like being on any medications if I can help it, right? I stay on the medications that I take because, you know, I don't want to have a heart attack, so I stay on my blood pressure medication. You know, I don't want to stroke out, so I take like a daily aspirin and that kind of thing. Even though, like, I'm a pretty healthy guy compared to my friends. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm tall or something. But you know, Don, you know, you're a fairly thin guy too. Most of our friends are not, and they all look like they're, you know, 1 foot in the grave half the time. So. Hopefully they're all taking things too. But my point is that I still get anxious at times. We've talked about this. And I had heard from people that weed helps, smoking dope. Now, I'm not inexperienced with weed. You know, right? It's been a while. Right. The last time I smoked weed was probably around 2000 or something, like, or a little bit earlier when Dan had people, you know, at the farm, right? When we had a cook, like I remember doing it there, and I think maybe a little after that.
One Wasp show.
Yeah, a little after that, maybe hitting a bowl or something. I mean, I think I did it with like Kelly and Bruler inside Bob and Angel's apartment, right? When I weighed like 1,000 pounds. That may have been like the last time because I felt like I weighed 1,000 pounds, and I'm like, I don't know what that's all about, but could have been messing with like my low blood pressure or something. But I do know that like weed can make you paranoid. I've had weed that's made me paranoid. You know, I've been high while driving, and I'm like, why isn't anybody passing me? You know, because I'm a little bit paranoid. Not dangerously paranoid or anything, you know what I mean? Like, I don't sit there and like think like people are following me. I got a high, you know what I'm saying? But like you start to, you know, you just start to think things, you know, you're just like, why isn't this happening? You suddenly become Adam in a way. And so, you know, that becomes a bit of a concern. So I've always been sort of like, well, you know, maybe it helps with anxiety, but if it's going to make me paranoid, it could make everything worse. Right. So I've never been that quite sure about taking it, but I've talked to some people I know that are who I trust a little bit better than just the random person that you might meet that would be like, it's all about the strains, man. You got to take a different strain because if you talk to those people, there's a fucking strain that does everything. I mean, seriously, there's a strain that'll cure your eyesight, fucking make you lose weight. I mean, they're fucking nuts. Like, there's not, right? It's basic. There's different strains, yes, but they're not like, it's the same chemical at the end of the day. It's THC, you know what I mean? So it's not going to be like that dramatically different. Go ahead.
That's the basis. The THC is the basis for it.
Right.
But there are different strains that do different things.
Oh yeah, I mean, apparently, yeah. I mean, I know that like some are milder than others, right? Some will make you feel differently in different ways and stuff. I'm just saying they're not cures, is what I'm saying. I mean, at least they're not scientifically proven to be cures.
There was this. I'm throwing this out here because we don't know when it happened, but in the past here, there was some strain that was going around that I could say Clint got a hold of, or no, Adam. We'll say Adam, and if you smoked it, you didn't get high. Right? You didn't feel like, hey, bro, you know what I mean? Your eyes didn't get heavy or nothing like that. You didn't get any of that. Yeah. But you ate. That's all you did, is you just eat. You're just like eating. I'm like, why am I eating? Why am I so full? Like, and then you're pissed because you're not high. You're like, I can't even get high off this stuff, but I keep eating everything. So it's like, I can believe that like they've manipulated it to be able to, take away certain effects or add certain effects. and to some extent, the full extent, I don't know.
Yeah, there needs to be there needs to be a lot more studies on it, but nobody wants to fund said studies because they're not making money off of it. You know what I mean? I think that if they legalize it more and more, then there may eventually be large corporations that run the weed industry, and they'll start paying for those studies. But then, of course, they might be biased because they're run by said stories. But anyway, so I decided though that when I got the skin cancer, I figured, well, because of Ohio's laws, I now qualify to get a marijuana card, and I can get medical marijuana. And so I picked up a bunch of that. And I haven't tried it yet, but I intend to after I do my colonoscopy. The reason why with the colonoscopy is because they're going to drug me up with something a lot stronger than weed for the colonoscopy. Yeah. And I'm just a little bit concerned, not much, tiny bit concerned, because I had that heart scare recently.
Right.
And I just want to make sure that nothing crazy happens. And if nothing crazy happens during the colonoscopy, then nothing crazy is going to happen if I go back to smoke some weed again. You know what I mean?
Right.
I know what it's like. I know how it is. It's not a big deal. You feel stoned. You feel relaxed and tired. Probably the first time I smoke it, I'll have the laughies again because it's been so long since I've smoked it. But after that, it's mostly just kind of a mellow, you know how it is.
Staring at stuff.
Although I am Kevin Baird, I'll probably talk a lot. Oh. It just happens.
Turn into Brian.
Yeah. Just it depends on how tired I am. So if I'm really tired, I don't talk much. But if I've had a few drinks or if I smoke some weed, I might talk a lot.
You get that Kevin Baird look in your eye. I know the look.
Right. It's just things get a little crazy. But
it's like, hey.
And I'll be on here and I'll report on it when it happens. It won't happen for a couple of months because my various medical appointments are still pushed out. But I'm prepared for it. I got the supplies at this point, so we'll see what happens. And then, but I wanted to talk too about some of the effects of these things, right? Because I don't know everything you've done. We don't have to touch on everything. Right. Okay, but I'll briefly talk a little bit. I mean, this is all public and but I don't care anymore because I'm old.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's kind of like these things have happened fucking ages ago, right? But I haven't really done very much. In terms of illegal, so to speak, stuff. Done acid, right? Smoked, done that once, and that was enough for me because acid is weird. Obviously, but it's like it's like your brain is cooking. It's like enhanced or something. It's taking in more information or something. You're seeing colors and patterns a lot more vividly. A lot of people make it, and listen, I'm not knocking people that have seen things, right? But a lot of people, when they describe it to me, they always make it sound like they're just seeing they're hallucinating, basically. They're seeing people running around and monsters and shit and all kinds of stuff. And I didn't get that from it. What I got a lot of was I would see when you look at the clouds just on a regular day, and you look at a cloud, and you might look at a cloud and you might be like, hey, that kind of looks like Abraham Lincoln up there in those clouds, right? But when I was on acid, any pattern I looked at kind of did look like something else. You know what I mean? It was still that pattern, but I could see a face in it, or I could see a hand or something. It wasn't trying to reach out and grab me. It wasn't melting or anything. But it was I saw those things. You know what I mean? And but my problem with it, because that's kind of fun. I didn't have a bad trip or anything. It was all right for me. But my problem with acid was that about 10 hours later, I was like, when is this going to end? Because it was just still raging, man. I was like, it's not like weed. You smoke weed, and unless you got some really potent stuff, you smoke weed, few hours maybe, and you're kind of coming back down off of it, right? But fucking acid, man. It's 10 hours in. I'm just like, I got to go to bed. It's killing me, So I've never wanted to go back to it. because it was so strong. But I didn't have a bad time with it. Now, what about you? What are your feelings about acid?
I won't do it anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. But there was a time period for like 2 years where it was like really readily available to me. So I would do it here and there. You know, you get with the usual guys, and they're like, "Hey, you guys want to do acid this weekend?" And it's like, you have to block off a day. Like you have to say to yourself, "Okay, you know what?
Right.
This Sunday,
yeah,
I've got nothing planned. I got nobody calling. I got nothing I have to do. I have nowhere I have to be. We can do it then." It's not like you walk into somebody's house and you're like, "Hey man, you want to burn one?" Sure. And then you smoke a joint or whatever, and that's, you don't have to plan for that. But this you have to be like, "Listen, we need to have orange juice in the fridge. We need to have, this, get it all together, because once this hits, you're done. You're not, that's what they say. They're like, you don't go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. Don't do anything." It's like, whatever. I had good times doing it. Don't get me wrong.
right.
I've never had a bad one. Like you said, I've never, these people were just like, "Oh my God, I'm freaking out. There's too much." And it's just like, well, then you shouldn't have just done it in the first place.
Right. Yeah. Your personality isn't going to gel with this. You should know ahead of time. Like, this isn't going to go well for you,
Right. Right. I mean, I can remember there was a time we were at this girl we used to hang out. I won't say names. There was this girl we used to hang out with in Olmsted Falls that she was short and looked like Rocky Dennis. And
I know this girl.
At least that's what everybody said.
I've talked to her recently.
So we all went to her place. Her mom was, I know, I tried to. She didn't remember me. And I was just like, "What?" She goes, "Don Anderson?" And I go, "Yeah." She goes, "I think I remember you." And I was just like, "I'm done with you."
Oh my
I was
God.
like, "I'm not dealing with this girl."
Jesus.
Yeah, I take it very personal. But that's the thing, is we were like, "Hey everybody, this Saturday we're going to her house and we're all gonna da 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 da. We're all gonna do this." And
it's an organized event. Yeah.
dude, we sat in this apartment all day and all night, tripping balls. Strobe lights going, no lights on in the house, just strobe lights.
Oh Jesus.
And
it's
you
like a
got
sun
people sucking on
explosion.
tubes of Oragel.
Yeah.
Oh, it was ridiculous. It was just like, you walk out of the room, you're just like, "What is going on?" It's freaky. So we're all there having a good time, and everybody's doing their own thing. That's the thing about acid. It's like, it's not like a group. Hey, the three of us are going to do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, I'm sitting here freaking out at that teddy bear in the corner because I swear to God it blinked at me, and because it's dark. That's what most of it is. Like you said, like you were saying with the visuals, like you know how like you see something in the distance, you go, "Oh, that looks like a dog," and then as you get closer to it, you're like, "Oh, it's a garbage can." You know,
Right,
like in real
right,
life.
right.
That's just real life.
Yeah.
But on acid, you'd be like, "That looks like a dog, and I think it's coming for me," because you're like, "I think it's moving. I can't tell. It's too dark," and you know what I mean. So that's how it gets you like that. So we all sat in this room, strobe lights going, everybody doing their own thing, everybody having a good time. And I don't know who it was, but somebody showed up and they were like, "I'm gonna kill myself."
Oh jeez.
And it was just like, everybody in the room was just like, "Go in the bathroom and leave us alone. Like, we don't want to deal with your negativity." And she's like, "I'm going to kill myself." And we're like, "We don't care. Go away." It's like, "Why did you come here if you're going to be all, we're trying to have fun?" And it's like two of the people like got all, "Oh my God, I'm freaking out. What are we going to do?" And it's just like, that's the thing. It's like, you got to plan.
Right.
You got to have the right people.
Yeah.
And you have to have the supplies. So,
but I would just recommend people don't do it.
But then here's the downfalls. Like you said, 10 hours later, you're like, "All right, I've had enough. Like, I literally don't want to do this anymore."
Right.
And acid has this chemical in it called strychnine.
Yeah.
Sorry. And when you're coming down off of acid and that strychnine hits, oh my God, you're just sitting there grinding your teeth, just like, because your whole body's just like tensing up and stuff. You're just like, and you start freaking. You literally start like, "I want this over." You're just like, "I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I want it gone."
100%.
So it's like, that's it. That's really the only downfall. And the other downfall is people sell you stuff and it's not real. It's just paper. Yeah.
Well,
the one
there's
dude
that.
in our class did that to me.
You got to get somebody
But,
trustworthy.
Now,
let me ask you this.
I don't.
How does that? I have not done shrooms, but I
was
also
just gonna
know
say.
that it is a similar mechanism, right? But I've heard it's a bit milder. It doesn't last as long, but it tastes like you're eating a piece of shit. So could you tell me what you think about that?
Okay, it's definitely better than acid, because just for the strychnine fact alone.
Yeah.
That you're not because LSD was made for what, crazy people by you know what I mean. They invented it to try and curb psychosis or whatever, or psychotic people or whatever, and but mushrooms, it's just like it's the same thing where you get the tingle in your balls and you're just like, oh my god, my balls are tingling. I feel like I'm gonna pee, but I don't have to, and it's kind of got the same kind of buzz effects type of stuff. But it's better. I think it's better, actually, because you have more control. Well, you should have more control. It depends. Okay, see, here's the thing. The first time we ever did mushrooms, so long ago, there was 5 of us, and it was none of the people you would think. None of the people from high school. It was all my Chi-Chi's people.
Ah, right. Yeah.
There was 5 of us. And we none of us had ever done it. We were like, I don't know. And this kid comes in, he goes, hey, I got this. You want it? We were like, yeah. So we didn't know how much we needed. So we got a 1/4 ounce and an 1/8 of an ounce. That's 10.5 grams. And I'm sitting there and I go, all right, there's 5 of us and we got 10.5 grams. How about we just all take 2 grams and see what happens? Little did I know that you should probably take 1/2 gram. Especially like your first time, like the shrooms come with caps, like the mushroom caps and the stems. It's like maybe a cap and maybe a stem.
Right.
We're pounded 4 stems, like 5 caps each. You know what I mean? Like it was
all right.
Yeah. Needless to say, it was all our first times. We had no idea what was going on. Needless to say, it was, and I could actually give you, I don't know the date, but it was the night that John Wayne Gacy was executed.
Oh, wow.
Finally. So that'll tell you how long ago that was, probably like 90 something. I was sitting there and I started, like, we were trying to play hockey on the Sega Genesis because
May
one of the
10th,
guys
94.
said, hey, wouldn't it?
May 10th,
94. There you go.
May 10th, 94.
We were playing. That explains why we were playing Genesis.
Right.
Hockey. And somebody said, hey, I got a great idea. Why don't we play 4-way Sega Genesis? We can all be a player, and we could play all-star teams, no goalies, 20-minute periods. It'll be great. And we were all like, that's awesome. And within like 2 minutes, 3 of us were out. We were just like, no, I don't want to do this anymore. Because I literally sat there. I've told this. I know I've told this to a bunch of people. I would sit there and look at the screen and be like, "Where's my guy? And I'd see an arrow pointing off up, right? And I'm like, "Okay, my guy's up." So I start going down. I start hitting boost, 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 and my dude would just go flying through the screen.
Hold on. I just like you did that whoosh, and I lost your audio. Let me pause this for a second. Okay. Say something?
Hello. Hi.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
I'm the Moon Knight.
You're playing your game, and you're...
So we're playing the game. Yeah. Dude goes flying through the screen. I'm like, shit, he's on the other side. I start going the other way. He goes flying back up the screen. Now the arrow's pointing up again. I did this for like 5 minutes where I was just going up and down and up and down, and I couldn't get under control. And I was like, you know what? I'm done with this. And I threw the controller down. and then, the other guys, Clint was there, and he throws his controller down. He's like, what the hell? I literally started laughing, like burst out laughing, like on the train, you and me in New York.
Yes, that was great.
That night.
Oh my God.
I was dying. I was just like, ha, 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 ha. But then I started, and I started crying.
Oh wow!
But I was laughing at the same time,
Oh.
and because I started crying, and I thought that was funny. I was like, "Why am I crying?" And I started laughing, but that made me cry more, and so I started laughing more.
Right.
And I had tears rolling down my eyes. I couldn't see anything. Everything was, I got blurry vision because of the tears and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I remember looking over at Clint, and I go, "Hey man, you know what?" He goes, "What?" And I go, "I think we took too much." and he looks at me with a serious look on his face. He goes, "No fucking shit, we took too much, you asshole." He's like, "What did you do that for?" I was just like, "I don't know." He, needless to say, he ended up outside in the bushes.
Oh wow!
Not puking or anything like that.
Right.
He just wanted to go outside and hide behind a bush. I don't know. He says that because I walked out the door and was like, "I'm looking for Clint, but I can't let go of this door because I can't get back in if I do." So I'm like, "I wonder where he's at." Right. I go, "Where is he?" And so I come back in. He comes back later. He goes, "I was in a bush next to you, and I was trying to call your name, but I couldn't talk." So anyway, so it's like, but it was all good time. You know what I mean? It wasn't like
right.
I was laughing and crying, but I wasn't like distressed, and I wasn't freaking out, and I wasn't. It was just you just don't have it. I've heard a story that if you take mushrooms, it's kind of like why it affects you the way it does is because it's kind of killing you slowly, because it's like a poison.
Yeah, and
that's why you have to control how much you take, because if you take too much, you can
right.
But then, who knows? But I think mushrooms are way better than acid.
Well,
no doubt about it. Makes music better. It makes. Oh my God! It's just like, dude, you listen to a song like "Celebration" by Kool and the Gang.
Yeah.
You don't think nothing of that song.
Right.
You know what I mean? Normal life, you hear it, you're just like, oh yeah, okay, great, celebrate good times, got it. Dude, I was dancing. I was just like, yes, listen to that. That's like the greatest. I was like, are you serious? How did I never hear this song like this before? This song is great. You know, so yeah, you could do more. You could do more public things on shrooms, because I've gone to concerts on them, and
Now I
stuff like that.
Smoking weed. I smoked some weed in my early 20s, and at times I got weed that I would say was laced with stuff, right? I definitely know that I've smoked weed with opium in it, and I didn't like it. Opium gives you kind of a buzz at first, but it always kind of gave me a headache afterwards.
Yeah, it tastes like gasoline.
And I was just like, this is not good. I know that they make heroin out of it, which is not good either, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, I guess. I didn't know these things when I was young and dumb. One time, I'd like your opinion on this, because you've smoked quite a bit of marijuana in your life.
Yeah.
And you've probably partaked in a lot of other people's marijuana, right? Not just the Brewski brothers type of thing, like like I did back in the day. Right. But okay, so one time I was at a work function. It was like a pool party. It wasn't a work fun. It was like an after work function. Hey guys, let's come to my place. We're having a pool party, kind of thing. Went out there. This was when I worked at Stouffer's, right, and the hotel chain, which doesn't exist anymore, and some people that worked at the front desk came out, right? And it was like one of the front desk girls and a couple of probably like bellboys. They don't call them that, like floormen or something. So they were there, and anyway, and they were passing around a joint, because we were passing one to them, and they passed one to us, and I took that thing. Man, that hit me like a fucking hammer, right? Like just. Boom! Like, it was so strong. And I only had like one puff, right? Now, again, I'm fairly, at this point in my life, not now, at this point in my life, I was fairly experienced with smoking weed, right? And so I felt like this was laced with something. It wasn't acid, but I was wondering, could it have been like PCP or something? Like, I didn't have any weird effects other than the fact that I was really stoned off of this one hit.
No.
So do you think it was just like really good weed, or do you think it was something else? You ever heard of something else that somebody?
No, because it if you get shit laced, you got like your monkey paw. It's got like embalming fluid in it. You got all these different. It's like, really, like you're smoking embalming fluid? Like that doesn't make sense.
People are crazy. They do put crazy shit.
Oh, they are. They no, if it was laced with like a PCP or like angel dust or you know what I mean, anything like that,
right.
That's something that's going to make you go, whoa, bug your eyes out. And you're like, I'm freaking out. I am freaking out. Like I have no idea what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you can get that way just from.
So it's going to get you. It's going to. So stuff like that would probably cause some sort of additional effect that weed doesn't really do. Because like people, if you've never smoked weed, it can be pretty strong, and you can be pretty stoned, and you can be stoned to a point where like. You're almost like comatose, like you can't really do very much when you're stoned. Mm-hmm. But you know, it's almost like it mellows you out in a lot of ways. Maybe some people it makes them hyper. I don't know, but I think for the most part it mellows you out, except for your appetite. And but it doesn't really, in my experience, it doesn't really have much other sort of effect in the sense of you're not hallucinating, you're not running around with like, you know, crazy heart rate or anything like that. You might get the chronic. You might think your heart doesn't work anymore and be like, I can't feel my heartbeat or something. I mean, that happens to people, but in general, you don't experience any, you know, weird sensations like you did with like acid or like with shrooms or something. So, you know, and I didn't feel anything like that. So I get what you're saying. I would probably have felt some sort of other effect.
You would have felt something. What I've done, and this is going to sound weird, but I've done all this. I don't want to call it scientific research, but I've done some things in the past to kind of not study, but learn how it works.
Yeah.
And what I found is that for people who don't do it a lot,
right,
or who do it once in a while, or who do it once every couple months, or you know, what I mean, if you're not in it all the time, you could end up hitting something like you said, you could hit something like the chronic or whatever,
right,
and that one will be like boosh, and you're just like, oh my god, that's good, you know, because that, like when I went to Oklahoma, obviously I didn't have a connection. In Oklahoma.
Right. You had to have some girl get on a airplane, deliver it to
you. She didn't even like me. I was such an idiot. Dude, the stupid stuff I did back then. Oh, my God. It's so embarrassing. I don't want to talk about it.
We all did dumb stuff. Dude, we all did. It's
you ever you know how like in that movie, what's the movie with Vince Vaughn? And, yeah, baby. You're just so money. You're so money.
Yeah. Swingers.
And you know how hey, Nicole, this is Mike. And he calls her up and he hangs up and he goes, no, it's not good. And he calls back. He's like, hey, Nicole, it's Mike again. Listen. Right?
Yeah.
In Oklahoma, I sat and wrote a letter and I put it in the mailbox. And on the way, and I drove out to the mailbox in the middle of the night, threw it in the mailbox. Like, she's going to get that. She's going to completely understand everything I'm talking about. By the time I drove home from the mailbox, I was like, oh my God, you're so much quick. Write another letter. And I wrote another letter. And I sent that the next day. I was just like, oh, man. And then I sent that one. I was just like, what are you doing? What are you, stupid? Anyways.
I do dumb shit like that even today, dude. Don't even worry.
Right? So, but there was nothing, you know, we had nothing there. It was very sparse. It was nothing.
Yeah.
We didn't have any connections or nothing. So we only had that little bit. So there was a time there where I didn't have anything. So I didn't know.
Right.
And that first day when I came home, I went over to Gilly's house.
Yeah.
And, you know, I partook in what I thought was the usual amount.
Right.
And I remember at one point standing there being like, I think I'm going to pass out. Like,
oh, yeah? Wow.
Yeah, because I started getting like the wah, wah, wahs and everything was going whoa, 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 whoa. And I was just like, are you all right, dude? Like, what's the matter with you? So it's like, it all depends on how much you do and how often or how often your body's used to it, because that has a big deal. That has a lot to do with it. Like, really good stuff. If I was there with you that day, you hit it and you're like, whoa, I would have hit it and been like, whoa. But then I would have been like, let me hit that again. You know what I mean?
I get it.
So
yeah,
it's all depending on your own personal.
Let me ask you, have you ever taken any benzos? Xanax, Ativan, Klonopin.
No. I don't do anything that's man-made.
Yeah, so I don't like to take those because they are physically addictive, right? So what that means is when you try to get off of them, you feel sick.
Yeah.
But they don't have the same side effects that a lot of other anti-anxiety medications have. And so at times I've taken them, usually for short periods, in order to deal with something stressful. And this is all, in this case, this is all legal. Like, this is all prescribed.
Right.
That I've dealt with. And they will make you feel really good at the right times. Like I remember I had to get an MRI done, and I am claustrophobic to an extent, and pushing me inside a fucking torpedo tube really fucking sets me off. Like, I just really have a hard time with it. I don't even know if I can take one. I've never completed one, to put it, and I don't know if I ever can. I'd probably be willing to try it, but when you're in pain on top of it, you're already agitated. Because I had back pain. So it's hard to then lay there and sit still while this loud machine and you're stuck in this tube. And I have a very vivid imagination, thanks to my brother being growing me up in such a way that, we always use our imagination. So I'm just imagining anything metal just flying into the thing, killing me, or some metal inside of my body being ripped apart like Magneto, just tearing me open. So, that shit never really worked out for me. But anyway, I went once and they gave me some Ativan for it, and I took that. And after I was like, I'm leaving. I'm not doing that. I was there, and they put me in, and I was like, all right, can I get out? I'm getting out. And they're like, well, I can't make it any more comfortable for you. Nope, I'm going home. I'm out. And I basically just ran out of there essentially. And but when later when the Ativan was hitting me, I was like, man, I feel great. I'm like, I feel amazing right now. This is awesome. And, but that's not a sustained feeling kind of thing. Like I've taken most of the variants. Ativan is kind of like, it hits you quick and it only lasts about 2 hours and then it's kind of over. So it's good if you were to take it and, you needed something like I was just doing, right? You take a quick shot, you get through that stressful thing and then it's over. It's not so bad. Xanax is a little bit milder, comes on a little bit slower, but it lasts about 4 hours or so. That one is, I guess, I would prefer over some of the other ones. I've never taken a Valium, but it's similar. And then the stronger one, and the one that a lot of celebrities mix with like the wrong things and die from, is Klonopin. Klonopin will last you half a day. And I've been on Klonopin for a while. I mean, not now. I mean, actually, I do have a prescription to it now, but I only take it as needed, and I haven't taken it in years. But when I had taken Klonopin daily, it's fine. It keeps you kind of upbeat. Couple of problems with it, though. First, I did not know how much or what my alcohol tolerance was anymore. So, I know you're not supposed to really drink on these things, but I did anyway. And I got absolutely annihilated because it was an open bar and the bartender liked me and she was just crushing me with Blue Hawaiians. And it all came up, man. I was like a fountain spurting out blue shit all over the place. Good time. But that I can normally, I'm a good drinker when it comes to tolerance. Like I know when to stop most of the time. But this was like something where it's dangerous. If you ever take it and drink, be aware you're not going to feel it, like your alcohol. And then all of a sudden you're going to be in that place where you're like, oh, I've had way too many and I'm going to get sick. And the other thing is getting off of it. Like, I did not crave it or anything, right? Like, it's not that kind of addictive. Like, it is for some people. Don't get me wrong. There's people that get addicted to it and die from it. That one guy on Rover Radio, his intern dude was addicted to these things and he eventually died. I don't know if he died of Klonopin or something else, but he was really addicted to benzos. But for me, I've never craved anything in my life. So I never really had, other than food. So I've never I didn't, but coming off of it, it's like you feel ill. I just feel like, ugh, like for a few days, like you just don't feel right at all. It's gross. And it makes me not want to take it again because it's awful. Yeah. But I wanted to talk about that. And then, then what they normally give you when you go see a psychiatrist is an SSRI, which is most of the drugs that you hear about, like Lexapro, Prozac, Zoloft, Paxil, all kinds, right? Yeah. And what those do is basically your brain has a bunch of serotonin. It's not serotonin. It's serotonin. And serotonin kind of makes you feel calm and relaxed, and it's natural, and it's inside your body and everything. And then throughout your day, your body starts to absorb the serotonin, and you generate more through REM sleep. So when you go to bed and you're having REM sleep, you generate more. But when you're awake, it slowly goes away. And so that's why at night, most people are a lot more anxious at night or paranoid at night or, on edge at night because you've got less serotonin now. You don't feel as confident about things. You're worried about things, etc. So when you take one of these SSRIs, what it does is it kind of blocks your body's ability to take up the serotonin too quickly. So you hang on to it longer. And so you feel calmer throughout the day. But for me personally, there's a number of side effects of those that I just don't get on with. I can take them. I've take them for years, but it doesn't make you great in the bedroom, for instance. And it makes me tired, more tired than I am. And usually I'm pretty tired. Right. So I'm not on them anymore. I'm on what they call Wellbutrin, which is similar, but it works on not serotonin, but that other chemical, dopamine, which I think is like what cocaine works on, or whatever. But it just keeps your dopamine levels higher. It's pretty much like, for me, I'm only on the low dose of it, and for me it's barely noticeable, but it seems to keep me from my big problem is that I get fixated on something and I get worried about it, and it's usually a legitimate concern, right? Somebody says you've got ear cancer, you know what I mean, and then you don't know what kind it is, and then you're sitting there thinking about it, and I get overly fixated on it. Like, my brain won't let it go. So while I'm trying to do other things, people are like, just don't think about it. It's like, I can't, because my subconscious is like, here, remember this? It keeps bringing it to the forward of my brain. And it's like, so I can't stop worrying about it. And it becomes cyclic in the sense that I become, more and more and more anxious because, I keep building on top of it. And this seems to be able to kind of keep that kind of thing at bay a little bit. But I have the Klonopin as backup in case I get into that kind of a pickle again, where I'm really stressed out about something. I can try and take something else. But I've come to learn that I can handle my anxiety just by knowing that it's not going to kill me. Because originally, when I had these problems, I used to think that I had some kind of insanity. I just thought I wasn't right in the head. Not crazy, but some sort of problem in my brain that might get progressively worse. And that worried me. And so I would think well, I've got these problems and these issues and I'm a little bit different. And what I've come to understand is most people have these problems, these psychological things. And it's not a big deal. And the fact is that these things won't kill you. They're uncomfortable. When they're going on, you have all of these feelings that are uncomfortable, but I've survived it 1,000 times. One more time is not going to make any difference. It's not going to do anything to me. It's just going to come hit me and wash over me, and I'll be fine. And by knowing that, I can typically get through it, unless again it's a legitimate concern. If it's something along the lines of I have 6 weeks to live, yeah, then my brain's going to be fried, you know. Then I'm going to be asking you to get me some shrooms or something because it's going to be like, okay, I'm going anyway. But okay, so let's talk about some other illegal drugs then. So cocaine. I don't know. Have you ever done cocaine?
Nope.
Okay. So friends of ours do cocaine, right? I mean, yeah. I know some people. I'm not going to name names, but we've been.
I've seen it.
Right. I've been to places, and I've been like in hotel rooms and hotel parties, and somebody's like, "Hey, you guys want to smoke? You guys want to snort some coke?" And some guys are like, "Yeah, let's do it," and stuff. And I'm like, I'm cool with you guys doing that, but I'm going to go out of this room because because listen, no. Because like, the legal thing there is it's not like weed. You know what I mean? Like it's not. Right. You're talking about something where you're gonna go to the big house for a long time if you have that. It's not cool, man. Like if you're rich and you got money for lawyers and stuff and you can work it out, great. Sure, there's probably not going to be a cop. None of my friends got busted or anything with this stuff. But I'm just saying, I'm not going to be near it. I mean, it's just. A lot of these drugs are bad, but cocaine to me is like and heroin is like the shit where I have got to just step away because I am not going to the big house. I know with like acid, it can be bad too, but a lot of that is weird. Acid, I think, was like based on weight. And so if you had acid in a sugar cube, you could go to the big house for like a decade or something if it was in a sugar cube versus acid on that little piece of paper, right?
Right.
But I think like that recreationally is kind of, maybe in the Reagan era, it was horrible and Bush Sr., but I don't know what they do so much with acid today. I mean, I think you can still go to jail, but I don't think it's like cocaine jail. Cocaine jail is still a long time, man. So I'm not interested in it. I stay away from it. I don't know how addictive it is. I know crack is super addictive, I guess, but I don't know too many people that I know that have done cocaine that seem like they're addicted to it. It seems like stimulants like that, at least for most people, don't seem to be as addictive as the things that are more like depressants, like heroin and opioid painkillers, right? Like Oxycontin, Percocet, Vicodin, that kind of thing. People seem to get really addicted to those. And they kind of scare me too. But yeah, so you never did anything with cocaine. So that's good, Don. I'm glad you didn't fuck up your nostrils or anything, snorting coke.
You'd have to go talk to either Bob, well, not Bob, but Tony.
Yeah. Well,
he was addicted to all that stuff.
Right. There are some people, I think, that are addicted to anything they can get their hands on. Right. They're looking just to escape. Like they don't care what it is as long as they can get at it. I mean, the dummy, he's kind of like that at times. Like, I think he don't care and he just wants to do anything he can to squelch it. These days he's all right. But back in the day, I don't know.
There was a time period there.
Yeah. That wasn't so great. But, so I'm assuming you didn't smoke crack.
Nope. Never done heroin, never done PCP, angel dust, none of that stuff. Anything that's made by a man, I don't do.
You ever heard of that ayahuasca stuff? I can't say that.
Nope. I haven't heard the name, but I don't know.
What about peyote?
Yeah, I've never tried that. That's
a lot like shrooms, though, right? I mean,
it's like sitting in one of them sweat tents or whatever. One of them teepees. Watching naked Indians walk around.
No. So, have you done anything else that we haven't talked about that I'm missing?
No, I mean, literally, it's like, listen, here or there, I maybe taking a pill. Somebody be like, here's this or here's that. But even then, I would only take them if I had like when I had my back surgery.
Right.
They prescribed me Percocets. And I was like, all right, I'll take these.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'll take them for when I need them. But even then, I wasn't like, hey, I'm just going to pop these every day and have a great time. Even then, I was still like, okay, I'm going to take one when it starts to hurt, and then I won't take, you know what I mean? Then I won't do it.
With Percocet, with me, as well as Vicodin, or even what was the original one that they used?
Codeine.
Codeine, yeah. Like, it works on back pain. Like, if you're in pain, like, they shouldn't outlaw these things completely, because I will tell you, it was the only way to get some relief in order to sleep. Like, you can do all the physical therapy you want. You can take all the fucking aspirin and Tylenol to rot your liver out, and that shit does not take the edge off of that pain. That pain is like a knife fucking stabbing you. It fucking hurts. And you take the opioid and it just dulls it. It's still there, but it's like it dulls it enough where you're like, thank you. I can go I can go to sleep for a little while until it wears off. And then it's like on fucking fire again, like you're being stabbed. It's fucking horrible. But but when on Percocet, like, I don't know about you, but my stomach was always like, ugh. Like, I didn't like it. Like, I didn't like being on it. It just made me feel ill. Like, I
get itchy.
Oh, really? Yeah.
I get all itchy. So the last time I did that was in the steel mill.
Oh, yeah.
Oddly enough, I got it from my nephew, who's dead now because of drugs. He had some. He was like, he had Percocets or something like that. And he was like, do you want one? And I was like, well, I don't. We were working 12-hour shifts, like 7 p.m. to 7 a.m.
Right.
So I was like, well, give me one. I don't want to take it, but give me one, and I'll see what happens. Maybe I'll think about it.
Right.
And he gave me one, and I remember, whatever, an hour or two later, I broke it in half. I was like, well, I'll just take half of it. What's the big deal? And I popped half of it.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I was in a good mood and I was bouncing around. I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Okay. Yeah, this is a good idea. I could do this. And then it could keep me up until 7 a.m. So I could be up, I could work.
Right.
And so I popped the other half, and I was talking to this dude, and he was like, hey, did you get one of those? I said, yeah, I did. And he goes, did you take it? I go, yeah. And he goes, did you eat your lunch? And I go, no. And I go, why? And he goes, you're supposed to take it with food. Like, you can't take that on an empty stomach. And I go, well, what's going to happen? I was like, what do you mean with no food? He goes, well, you're probably going to get sick. And I was like, whatever, dude. Like, I'm not going to get sick. I swear to God, an hour later, I had to walk away. I was like, I'm walking. It was like 3:00 in the morning. And I was like, I'll be back in a minute. And I started walking to the elevator.
Yeah.
In the steel mill. We were on like the fourth floor or whatever, and everything's wide open. And we were up so high, the people who drove the overhead cranes, their little compartment was like level with us. And I could see them across the way sitting in their cranes, because they just sitting there all day long,
right?
Because they never get out. And I remember walking, and I went, I'm not going to make, and I just started throwing up. I didn't get the sentence. And it just came, as I was walking, it just came out, and I kept walking, and another one came out, and another one came out. And I was like, I looked over and I saw the guys in the cranes. I was like, they got to be like, what is wrong with this dude? He's just puking in the steel mill. Just like, who is he? And then I haven't done any of that stuff since. I've never
stay off those things. They are.
Yeah, I was just like, what were you thinking? I was like, what are you, an idiot? Like,
there's science behind those that, like, if you are in actual pain, then this is what they say. This isn't just me. This is what, I read about this because I was worried about it. They say if you are in physical pain and you take them for pain, you won't become addicted to them. But if you take them socially, right? Like, you're just taking them to take them, that's when you can become addicted to them. So, so don't do that. Don't take them socially. Just take them if you're in pain and stuff. Now, I do agree that doctors probably overprescribe those things. I mean, I've certainly, dentists back in the day, you'd go in and get like a tooth pulled or something, and they'd give you like 100 Vicodin and stuff. And you'd be like, I don't think I need all.
Yeah, right.
It's a lot, but then there's other times these days right now where they don't want to give you anything. And I haven't had to face that, but they're all worried about lawsuits and everything. And it's like, there's got to be some balance, because there's not a lot of choice. And like, you either take those or you're in pain, you just, hopefully that, you can prove it out that, you know, you're not drug shopping, and, you know, you just get something to take the edge off. I mean, it's so regulated now. It's so difficult after everything that's happened that if somebody gave you, like, I don't know, a 30-day supply or something, like it's not like you're going to get another. You're not going to reuse it. You know what I mean? You're not going to get it re-upped. You'd have to go in and plead your case, and they're going to be like, no fucking way. You know, like it's almost impossible. So, like, people might be too cautious with it at this point, you know. But I don't know. I mean, it's wrecked a lot of lives and done a lot of damage. But I'm just saying, like, it's also done some good, and you have to find a balance.
Yeah, that's true. That's. I'm just not into it. It's like, you know what?
No.
I know what I'm getting with everything else. You know.
Right.
I remember real quick before we end this. I remember when I had my wisdom teeth taken out.
Yeah.
And I got codeine. That's what the dentist prescribed.
Stuff, right? Yeah.
Right. They were like, "Here, we're going to give you a prescription for codeine." And I was like, "All right, cool." And I, you know, it was like early 20s or something like that. And I went to a KISS convention that weekend. Like that following week, I still had like stitches in my gums and stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like it was like 3 days after I had the wisdom teeth taken out. And we were in Detroit, and that's where the KISS convention was. And we had a room, and somebody else was there, and they had a room full of people. And I remember going down to the one room and going in. There was just a bunch of scumbag people that we all knew from Cleveland, hardcore and stuff like that, you know. Just the scumbag people. Right. And the usual suspects, Oz and James and Frank, and then like a score of other people. And I remember walking into this room, and everybody was just everybody's drunk, everybody's passed out, everybody's just laying around. And I was like, oh, this ought to be safe. I was like, because I was like, I had this bottle of codeine, and I go, hey, anybody in here want a codeine? And nobody lifted their heads, but about 3 or 4 hands went up. They were just like, I'll take one. And I'm just looking at them like, you're already passed out. You're already like, why would you even? What would be the point of that? Like, that doesn't even make sense. So it's weird how the stigma of, you know what I mean? People hear that, they go, oh yeah, I want one of those. Right. Whereas I hear it, I'm like, well, I might need a sandwich first.
Yeah, I don't even take that shit at all. But let me ask you one question, and then we'll wrap it up because we'll be at an hour. Weed, right? Talked a little bit about it for anxiety, but and I'll be experimenting with that in the future. But what's your experience with it dulling pain? Do you think it does? Do you think it helps? Does it not help? I mean, you've had back pain and shit, and I'm sure you smoke weed. I mean, you know, in your experience,
I can say for sure that it helps with stomach pains. Okay, that's interesting. Like if you haven't eaten or something, like you know how like sometimes when you don't eat and you get in that spot where you're like, I should be hungry. I don't have an appetite. And my stomach's twisting and turning on itself because it's been so long since I've eaten. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about? Yeah. Puff, puff, puff. Within 5-10 minutes, you're like, I'm going to Cane's. Oh, I'm going to McDonald's. So like you're like, you feel like you can eat again. Okay. So there's that. I know that it's a good for the helps appetite. With hunger in a way. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. Now, as far as like pain. Yeah. Like physical pain. Somewhat. Okay. But I don't, it's not like I'm like before I had my back surgery, it wasn't like I was like, come on, I got to go do this. You know, I got to go smoke this, or I got to go, you know, eat these, whatever. That, as a matter of fact, that probably made it worse because of the coughing. You know what I mean? It's sure. Like, and you're like, ouch, ouch, ouch. You know? Did it take your mind off of it at all? Maybe? Yes. Okay. That would help. Yeah. It would help with that. And it wouldn't fully do it, but it would kind of, you know what I mean? There's certain pains, like if you got muscle pulls or something, like if you're like, oh, my back's all tight. You hit it a couple times, and then within like half an hour, you're like, oh, I don't feel that bad. You know what I mean? Like, oh, all of a sudden my back feels like okay. Right. But 2 hours later, you're like, ouch, my back hurts. So interesting. It's not like it's a cure, right? But it more or less dulls the receptors. Yep. You know. All right. I think. Yep. Nope, that makes sense. I was just curious what your take on it was. That's good.
See, Donnie tells you the truth, folks. He's not throwing out the bullshit. He'll tell you that.
I ain't gonna lie.
Right. Just let you know. That's what we do on this show. We tell you stuff. Yeah. All right, so we'll be back.
Especially about Moon Knight.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. Well, we do have the new Obi-Wan Kenobi show coming up soon here. And
we should do a show about Oak Island.
Oh my God! I mean, there's like so there's
I've watched 6 seasons of that show and I'm done. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. How many holes are you going to put in this island?
Yeah. Are they still doing that show or is it over? Like
no, that's the season finale is this Tuesday, I think.
The season or the series?
No, season. Well, as far as I know, it's just the season because
I swear the one brother, the guy without the beard. I don't think he's been wanting to do this for like the last like 4 seasons or something of this show. Like he's just he's like, I'm thinking we're going to give it everything we got. And then that'll be it. And the other brother's like, well, we got to keep looking. And he's like, really?
He's like, oh, well, all right then.
Yeah. I guess that's why he did by the History Channel. We'll keep doing it.
I think that's why he did all those other side shows where he's like Civil War gold and in search of buried Michigan boats.
Yeah, that show. Yeah, we could talk about it. I mean, that show is just it's got to be one of the most ridiculous shows ever because it's just guys digging holes in the ground,
and you just watch it. You're just like watching it.
Like they find some stuff, but I mean, it's so. I mean, it's like shit you'd find in your yard. I mean,
you don't find fragments of human bone 190 feet in the ground.
Well, okay, yeah, they did find like
something's up,
a coin and stuff, but this treasure that they're looking for does not exist. Whatever. I
found a spike. Here's another spike. You're like, oh, come on.
I mean, they found some sort of boat thing, coconut thing. I mean, it's maybe next week we'll talk about Oak Island.
Good stuff.
It's so ridiculous. All right, folks. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week. See you.
Peace.
You've been listening to Oblast with Don and Kevin. If you'd like to write into the show, send an email to oblast@vgn.us. That is VGN as in video game news. And be sure to check out our Patreon page, which is at patreon.com/VGN, where you can get all of our shows, our videos, and some musings. Be sure to tune in each week for new episodes on our Patreon page or every other week on the public RSS feed that you're subscribed to now. Thanks for listening, and good night.
Peace.